All right, Speed Gaming presents Speed Gaming Live 2021 in this matchup in the brackets of this tournament as we feature on your left Cantaloupeme facing off against Furaime. Hi everybody, I'm Adirondack Rick being joined by Clear Mouse. What's going on?
Oh my gosh, Rick, I am so excited. This is really looking up to be quite the stacked match. We've got two very excellent runners today, and I'm really excited to be able to feature those two as well. I think they've been around the scene for a long time, very experienced. Certainly going to be a very exciting race tonight. And we get to see them here in person. This is also one of I think the best parts of SGL is that you actually get to see the person behind the controller, behind, in this case, what, Nature Link and Plague Knight? Is that right?
That's what it looks like we've got on our hands for this race. Cantaloupeme being on the lower end of the qualifiers, Furaime being on the higher end. But what about this bracket? This bracket is looking really, really tough, and the runners that they have to face in upcoming next. Plasma Kappa send some help.
Oh yeah. And in fact, so in terms of the structure of the tournament, so far we've got 15 qualifiers that these runners had to go through, at least 5 of them. And then, of course, the top 128 managed to make it to brackets, which is a double elimination. And within the 128 brackets, they've got little, I guess, like pods, eight-person pods, and the people in this pod, well, every pod is, I think, pretty scary, but you've got some very, very heavy hitters. You mentioned Plasma Kappa is going to be the winner, could take on the winner between Cantaloupeme and Furaime. On the other side, we've got Hitsuyan 1337, who was the #1 seed out of the qualifiers, facing off against Walter, and the winner of that's going to play the winner, and then they'll eventually make it to top 32. But those are some really big names.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the person that the loser of this match is going to be facing in the redemption bracket is going to be WinFox 470, the other runner on this side of the bracket. All right, so we haven't really... I was going to say we haven't really seen a whole lot so far in this early part of the run. We do have a little bit of a magic refill here for Furaime, but let's see. We don't really have much else to report here until we get to see some items inside of this place. However, what do you kind of expect for this run?
Well, so I don't know if I have any expectations. I certainly have lots of optimism that they're going to have a fun, very nice, friendly seed. Nothing about, like pedestal seed that we don't know anything about because the book is in GT type of thing. Like if it's going to be a ped seed, I want the book to show up early. Nice. Some swords would be good too.
Nice reference to qualifier number 15 right there when we had all of that hell. So right now at this point, looks like we have a little bit of an early game trying to just, get to where we need to go inside of this. And both of these runners are very, very skilled with Zelda games. Cantaloupeme has been a veteran runner of Zelda 1 as well as Zelda 2 and has done some Link to the Past in the No Major Glitches category as well. And Furaime, the best thing you know about Furaime is the fact that they don't do an interview unless they win a particular tournament or a league. However,
we're still waiting. Don't worry. We're holding
out
hope.
But they are very, very skilled in this game, and they've shown it in very league tournaments and whatnot. So it's going to be really fun to watch this race come together. That's a real nice find to see right there in Zelda Cell, those 3 bombs, because we're going to need them for Kakariko Village.
Oh yeah, and for those of you who may have watched the main tournament that kind of happened earlier this year, we also did have a standard start. Bombs were quite the premium, just because you want to try and get to the back of escape, right? However, in this mode, because we get to start with boots, we get to bonk our way over to the back of escape, so we are guaranteed to get those items, as opposed to kind of like earlier when you're trying to kind of pressing your luck in order to find some access back there.
Chat shouting out that clock that Furaime is using for their timer. That's I've not seen that kind of timer before.
Oh yeah, it's so Furaime actually coded it up himself. So it's actually his custom timer, which actually is pretty cool, and I believe is actually from Steingate, which I think was like a visual novel that I think it was also part of his avatar as well. So certainly seems to be that timer is a fan favorite.
Nice, nice, nice. Now, you did see Cantaloupe bonk. That shows the power of a bonk inside of this game that allowed that Furaime to pull ahead slightly. As we head to the back of the escape, we do have a key. We already seen the map, so there are 5 items remaining in this escape sequence.
Yeah, so far, nothing. I mean, so those bombs are actually, as you said, Rick, we're actually really convenient. You know, we don't necessarily need them for the back of escape, but when we go to Kakariko, it's much nicer to have those bombs because you don't have to farm for them later. Other than that, though, I guess we're like nickel and diming our way up to bottle vendor money. Maybe we're a little far from Zora money, but you know, hopefully we're going to, you know, pick up some more cash along the way.
I like the fact that we have 60. That kind of guarantees you that you're getting bottle vendor without having to do any special farming, because you're going to get 30 inside of Blind's hideout. You're going to get 10 inside of the well. That's your 100.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is true.
Although, of course, we still got 4 items left here. We get ourselves the Quake simultaneous pickups for both of these runners. And you get to see how fast it is going through one entrance versus the other right there, as Furaime opts to go one way or the other. But it really didn't turn out to be much of a difference in the end.
Yeah, and I mean, so this might be slightly just a little bit harder because, you know, we're putting 2 really good runners, like, right next to each other. You actually recognize, like, just how synced up they are, like, how clean their dash lines were, like, throughout Escape, right? You know, the fact that they basically, you know, finished up around the same time just really shows you, like, how good they are.
And that's something that we'd like to be able to show you over the course of this SGL brackets. Obviously, we will not be showing all of them. We do get a map check. We do see 6 over on the Eastern. We do see I believe it was a green pendant. We get a confirmation. Yep, that's Desert with a green pendant. And Hera, also a pendant dungeon. So 1 more pendant to be found in the Dark World.
So, Light World pendants, you know, the more pendants we find in the Light World, kind of the more likely that sort of rock, unfortunately, might be a crystal. You know, we certainly hope that races don't come down to something like an Ice Round Hunt, because we really want to, as you said, Rick, showcase the execution skill for these runners.
And we get some more bombs by way of the tree pull, single bombs. That's a very nice one to find, and we're not going to worry about that anymore. Both of them are going to say no to those hearts.
Yeah. So yes, actually, speaking of hearts, Rick, as part of the modified item pool for SGL, we actually see like kind of a trend. So in the health pool, it is 2 heart containers, the traditional sanctuary heart, and then the rest of them are actually all heart pieces. So the health buildup or gain is actually quite gradual. So you're actually going to see these runners kind of demonstrate not like super low percent, but certainly lower percent kind of as we go.
And that's like a very good point. The way that the item pool for SGL 21 is a little bit different than what you would see in an open mode or casual boots, or even that last tournament that you spoke of earlier with the main tournament.
Yeah, that's right. So even though it was I guess like more traditional hard item pool set, this is just slightly modified, just so we can get a little bit more, I guess, like gradual growth of health. Speaking of, they both picked up the hook shot at the mushroom spot. That is some really nice. Not only does it help you movement, you can also check out the stun prizes. That can potentially be another resource farm for you.
Speaking of resources, Furaime pulled off that tier, I think it was the tier 3 tree pull,
yeah,
if I remember correctly. Didn't take any damage there, so therefore was able to pull out those 80 rupees. As we're now both exploring what we have back here in the Blind's hideout. And what do we find? We find ourselves a shield. Yahoo! 20 rupees. Yahoo! A piece of heart. Yippee! And the lamp.
Okay, alright, so the lamp is nice, so we're not going to have to deal with any dark rooms today, which always is going to be a benefit. And we also have a fire source. That's probably the more thing that they care about, these 2 runners.
And also, the 80 rupees that Furaime pulled out is kind of negated by the fact that the 300 was in the back of Blind's hideout there. So as we head over to the well, already filled with a lot of good rupees.
Yeah, you actually see also a difference in movement here, for I'm taking advantage of that hook shot, getting some hook speed off of the very small set of stairs you saw in Blind's hut. Just being able to super speed his way over to the well.
And so far, we've found 50 rupees, another piece of heart to put us at 4 total hearts now. And with 601 rupees, Furaime has enough rupees to actually get to Zora at some point in the very near future.
Yeah, so it's sitting right at 500. Unfortunately, not a good purchase today from the bottle vendor. If Cantaloupeme can also kind of scrounge up another 74 rupees at this point, he'll also have Zora money as well. It's something definitely to consider for him if he wants to kind of move over to South Shore, because it's certainly very convenient to be able to do the water walk and do some like the waterfall checks and Zora at the same time.
He'll be able to do a little bit of reading with that book that we just found inside of the chicken coop. Now we'll go head on over to the back of the tavern before leaving this village. And we find another 20 rupees right there. 446.
Yeah, and so with that book, of course, we are going to be able to get some early tablet knowledge. We can't actually get anything off the tablets because we don't have that Master Sword yet. Oh man, thank you, Furaime. Furaime really likes the tavern in this case. We appreciate the joke.
Getting to look at something that we don't normally get to see.
That's right.
Thank you for showcasing that here on SpeedGaming for Furaime. And we don't see anything interesting on the race game. Cantaloupeme has said no, and we'll now head towards the South Shore.
Yeah, looks like Furaime's actually going to take a little bit. He's going to be able to check this thing blind, but it's not going to take up too much extra time, so he's going to basically save it quite out early once he sees that the prize at the end of the race game is not worth picking up.
Yeah, okay. Nice with using the dashing lines here in order to get himself to the end. Unfortunately, he sees those 10 arrows and realizes that that did not turn out to be anything of importance. Nice use of the invisibility frames to get himself through the block there to make it so you only have to go inside this dam once to claim both prizes.
Yeah, that's certainly a really nice addition. You'd be surprised actually for how much extra time these like screen transitions and mirror transitions take up. So it's definitely really nice to be able to see the use of the hookshot like this.
All right, so Cantaloupeme to pick up that 20 rupees just needs 14 more in order to claim the Zora treasure. And I'm going to assume because we got the flippers as early as we did, that's going to be the destination for both of these runners after they check the Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, and of course, with boots, certainly a little bit faster in order to get over there. It's going to be as painful, but of course, with Ice Rock Cave exiting, man, really had some issues there with that mini Moldorm. Unfortunately, it's quite slippery. But hey, look at that, and a fire rod. I was gonna say he definitely made his way over. Okay. Oh man, so I keep having a train of thought that I want to continue, and then Cantaloupeme just keeps getting more items out of Mini Moldorm Cave. Okay,
so you see how Cantaloupeme had some issues with that last Mini Moldorm.
Yeah.
Furaime had some issues with that last fairy.
Fairy, that's right. Okay, so the haul that we got out of Mini Moldorm Cave, though, so we got a Cane of Samaria, we got the Master Sword, and we got a Fire Rod. We are quite loaded at this point in terms of offense. It looks like actually Cantaloupe's going to take a slight detour potentially to go check Hobo. Yeah. This is of course 100% in logic. Typically you don't see runners check Hobo as often, but just because we don't actually explicitly have the flips, right?
We get the mirror.
Oh my gosh, dude, that is a good find.
Now, I do want to point this out. We do have a potential of an issue here for Cantaloupeme. If this turns out to be anything major, and it's only 300 rupees, which is not bad news. I mean, that's good news for Cantaloupeme, the fact that it's not a major thing, because now this had turned the Ice Rod Cave into a loose square. We see a bottle over on the Lake Hylia Island, and Furaime's going to be showing us how fast you can make it over towards certain areas way of the boots, including to head on over towards Zora, which is the destination in just a few, but we're going to head to Hobo first.
Yeah, actually it looks like so. This is going to be really good news for Furaime because just like Cantaloupeme, he is going to be able to pick up his mirror as well. Most likely he is going to fake flipper out of Hobo. But yeah, you definitely can see just how powerful the water walk is because swimming not only is kind of a somewhat difficult mechanic to master, I mean, you just can't beat dashing, right?
Yeah. The faster you can be dashing versus swimming is a very big movement mechanic that you want to try to get into your arsenal of gameplay tricks. I guess I know how to speak English.
It's all right. What is? Oh my gosh!
Oh.
Wow. Okay, so
And
we just bought our third sword. That's actually.
And that's the last sword we're gonna get.
That's right. That's right. So I mean, it is slightly modified, I guess, hard item pool just to make things a bit competitive. But yes, we are going to be capped at tempered sword. But tempered sword, lamp. Does that say anything to you, Rick?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Now,
All right.
obviously, I know where you're going with that, but I would like to see a Moon Pearl first show up before we start talking about that AGA word. Now, obviously, that could very well be over on the pyramid ledge.
Yeah, that is certainly true. Yes, and right now, even though we do have the pieces in order to go into and explore the rest of the castle that we haven't seen yet, we are still missing 3 pieces in order to move around a dark world. Specifically, actually, to move anywhere. Right. We kind of need that Moon Pearl.
Well, we need the Moon Pearl is a big thing. Once you get the Moon Pearl, you have a lot of options open to you inside of that dark world because we have the flippers, because we have the hook shot,
and we have the hook shot as well.
Yeah, we have West Side Dark World open to us.
I like Westworld. Did you ever watch that series?
I actually do not. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, here's a check that is going to be by the way of looking at seeing what we get for that book. And this is an interesting direction. We're going to be heading into a divergence for these 2 runners.
This is actually quite interesting. So Furaime is taking advantage of and trying to chase basically a sphere 1 item, and maybe something is locked behind the book, right? And not only is that desert is a pendant, so maybe we don't have to come back here necessarily. Cantaloupe though is going over to potentially there could be arguably more items just because you have Sahashal's Closet, and in addition to whatever you can get out of Eastern Palace.
Yeah, but at this point in time, you have a minimum of 5, maximum of 6 items that you can pull out. We've already seen one of them here inside of this Eastern Palace.
Yeah, and of course, runners, I think... Oh, what a payout! What a payout! Yes. Oh my gosh! Alright, so it looks like whatever decision you make, you can't be wrong in this case. So if you go over to Eastern, you're going to be able to get your Moon Pearl out of it. You go over to Desert, you're going to be able to get your glove. So still, these are 2 pieces that we need to go to Dark World. Still, unfortunately, we're still missing that last critical piece, which of course is another glove, or it's going to be the hammer. Or we're gonna go upstairs and climb a tower and go say hi to a friend of ours.
So here's the thing. This makes this dungeon clearable for Furaime. This is the green pendant.
This is the green pendant. Oh, you're right. I wonder if that's on his mind. Actually.
This could very well be a case here where Furaime is going to finish off this dungeon, take that green pendant over towards the Eastern area, check that, and then of course find the Moon Pearl inside of Eastern.
Yeah, no, this is a very, very good point. And the fact that we do have both fire sources, fighting, in this case, Cyclamos, is actually going to be pretty well practiced and comfortable for our runners. Furaime actually also reminding, at least me, that he has a mirror, so routing Desert Palace is actually going to be even nicer at this point.
I never ever actually thought of just mirroring at that point and heading back to start. I always just ran across there, so I might want to borrow that strat down the road.
Yeah, no. So Rick, you also do bring up an excellent point. So we're showcasing 2 very good runners. Feel free in this case to steal whatever they decide to go to, because it's always somewhat surreal to kind of like see them go between the screen and maybe not notice too much difference, but then at the end of like a dungeon, you're like, how am I, 1 minute behind them? And it's just like the little things that kind of add up, right?
Yeah, for certain. And it's kind of the crazy thing about this kind of level of competition, where you could make one move that is different, and the other one might not make make a move that is going to put them further behind. Now, we do see Cantaloupe chasing after that one little thing that I had mentioned just a moment ago, you were starting to mention a moment ago in regards to the Aga play. So I guess now we have to ask that question here, Clear Mouse.
What question are we going to ask, Rick?
Well, there could be a number between 0 and 15, and, well, we don't want 15.
I was gonna say, could we lower the ceiling a little bit? Like, 14 would be great. How's that?
Well, we could make it higher than 15, but that would imply that they'd actually miss.
Oh, yeah, that Yeah, let's not wish such terrible tragedies on our runners quite yet. There's still so much seed left in this case for how well this can treat them. But it's also, by the way, pretty nice in my opinion. Just so Cantaloupeme, unfortunately, has to climb Aga Tower on, I guess, 3 working hearts at this point. Like we said, the gradual health growth is certainly can be an issue. But at least he has a temper sword going through. It's much nicer to have a temper sword versus like fighter sword and cape, right?
Yeah, for certain. And that's exactly where this is going to be helpful here for both of these runners should we actually have to climb this tower. We don't know if we actually do, because it's possible that what Cantaloupe is doing is not necessary, and he's just chasing because he doesn't know about that glove on the desert ledge. We'll find out eventually. We get 10 arrows from the Lammo, and now the next question turns out to be, is that green pendant worth anything? But you know what that glove also opens up to us that is in logic?
I believe that would be the mountain.
That is correct. And so we do have a prediction going on right now in chat, and you can play along if you'd like, whether or not the blue ball count is going to be an odd number or an even number.
It is, so I'm going to assume that 0 is even, right?
0 is indeed an even number.
Okay, that is good. Because I believe, yeah, the technical definition is divisible by 2, right? So a 0 is divisible by 2, so we're all good.
All right, we're going to go ahead and see what we have for this green pendant turn-in. And this could be a good move here for Furaime if it turns out to be something important. But it's just 20 rupees.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like... So, I only caught what Lammo's dropped, which was 10 arrows. So it looks like actually Desert itself may have been pretty empty.
So if this is only just to get that glove, that could be something that Cantaloupe's gonna not do, but I don't see in that situation. I don't see any situation where you don't finish off Desert. All right, so Furaime's now gonna be going up to the mountain. There's a lot of items up there. We could very well find a hammer. We could find the other glove upgrade. Make this saga play that Cantaloupe is making absolutely unnecessary, but we'll find out in due time. I haven't been keeping track of the blue ball count here, so somebody's going to have to help me.
I unfortunately also have not seen how many we have. At least when I've looked back now, he hasn't had any. But I was going to say just to also supplement what you were potentially going to try and find here, at least on Furaime's side on the mountain. He would really like to be able to have a bow. That would actually be really nice because then he would have actually a lot more incentive to go over to Eastern Palace because then he could actually finish it. And it's going to be his first crystal.
Is this going to be the 0? Yes, it's the 0.
Oh, nice, nice. All right. So, okay, so we don't actually know if Aghanim right now is required because Furaime's going to show us a couple extra checks that are going to be in logic. But at least, looks like Cantaloupe actually made quite good progress and pretty speedy up that tower. How fortunate, by the way, that Pyramid has some money for him because where could you go in this case if you're Cantaloupe? So you still could go into North Dark World. If he wants to choose to go into Pod, he actually has the money. So now that was actually an option for him.
Yep, and so now we did get a map check. We did see another pendant over at, there it is. Myers are other 5-6, and we do have, of course, the other part of this, which is the Thieves' Town being the other pendant. Cantaloupe is trying to remember what he needs to do. You got to jump into the water to go around if you're going to head over to the west side of the Dark World. Oh, that's right. We get some bombs. So that ether, not necessary, but of course, we're now up here in the mountain. We're going to go into the Tower of Hera, and Cantaloupe has now figured out where to go swimming.
If only they had a sign that says that this water is okay, but that other water is not okay. Alright, so pendant dungeon number 2 for Furaime. Picking up the big key, I guess, so because this is a pendant.
Ooh.
Okay, that is a really nice find.
That's a required flute.
Yes, so we can't actually get to the mire area quite yet, just because we still need another glove. But I think in this case, it actually does show at least we definitely need to go to Desert in order to get that glove.
And there's the other item.
All right.
So here's the question. One pendant down. It looks like Furaime's planning on finishing off this right now. Cantaloupeme is using the mirror to check King's tomb.
Yeah, this could be a potentially good route for Cantaloupeme. Just because he has the mirror, he's going to do Graveyard Ledge, and combining King's Tomb is going to be pretty efficient.
Mm-hmm. So he will do that next and then make his way over towards the... Wonder if he would do Schoolwoods at 4 hearts at this point. It depends on his comfort level. Obviously, having Tempered Sword is going to help with that comfort level.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty good question. You know, some runners, you know, it's just that you really have to be comfortable, especially with fights like Macula, right? So we did see Furaime pick up the Blue Mail, which went on top of the Spectral Rock, but, you know, Cantaloupeme doesn't have that luxury.
Hey, Clear Mouse, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, what's up, Rick?
Did you see that double spray right there?
I did, actually. So you know, and I feel gypped, by the way, because it only was 5 rupees when we picked it up.
So explain to our viewers what exactly that means.
So as part of the modified item pool, some items, in this case, have been replaced with 5 rupees. So those replacement items, in this case, actually do include another shield. So we actually are capped by a shield or bottles, just because of how, I guess, like how big the sprite is. In this case, we don't actually have, I think, any bottles, right? But we do have that shield. So most likely, what Cantaloupeme found was, in this case, a shield upgrade that we unfortunately just get $5 for.
Now we have seen a bottle, and in fact, Cantaloupeme at this point does have access to it. But,
oh yeah, that's right. You actually, I totally forgot about the bottle that he saw on Lake Hylia Island.
Oh, Titan's Mitts!
Oh wow!
On the mountain.
Wow.
Oh boy. Okay,
right.
so
yeah,
that does
really
not look
route.
like that. Unfortunately, will actually make that Aga that Cantaloupeme has done unnecessary.
Yeah, and of course with those mitts, right, and Furaime's going to be able to, once he activates the flute, he's going to go straight over to the Mire area, or at least have access to it. So this is actually going to be really nice, because Furaime, once he goes over to the Dark World, I guess, like village-wise, he can actually probably clear out Skull Woods. He's got a probably a bit more comfort, you know, 5 parts Blue Mail, and then he's going to be able to activate his flute, and then he can actually choose whether or not he wants to do, you know, how much of Pendant Thieves Town he wants to explore.
Well, remember, he's still got to get to Eastern.
Oh, right! That's right, he doesn't have a Moon Pearl! Totally forgot. Oh, man. Hey, we do see another 20, so I believe that is actually our replacement boots. So in this case, if you, I mean, for those of you who maybe have been more familiar with, like, Ladder, you don't get another boots icon, you just get the 20 rupees.
We're going to be checking the Spiral Cave, and then Furaime will be checking the Dark Death Mountain area, as Cantaloupeme is in the other of our pendants in the side of this Thieves' Town.
Yeah, so yeah, and as you pointed out, Rick, because Furaime hasn't been over to Eastern Palace, he doesn't have the Moon Pearl. Do you know how nice it would have been if he had it earlier, and he would have been able to do all of Dark Death Mountain as well?
However, we'll be checking King's Tomb. We already know that's going to be just 10 arrows, and it looks like Cantaloupeme is just opting to do the first 4 of Thieves' Town before heading over towards the chess game.
Yeah, we are still looking for that elusive hammer. You know, it's definitely one thing to consider whether or not you want to do the back of Thieves' Town is kind of another thing, whether or not you want to do the back of Pendant Thieves' Town without that hammer.
Looks like Cantaloupeme is opting to head over to Skull Woods, which is a crystal dungeon. Be the first crystal dungeon that is available to us, and we'll be able to find out whether or not this pedestal might be required in a little bit, but looks like Cantaloupeme, because he doesn't have gloves, has to walk around.
That is an unfortunate consequence. Just, I mean, it's definitely really nice to be able to have the mitts in this case in order to access Dark World.
That would have been something I would have got caught with, because I would not have even thought of that until whoops.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Looks like Furaime is interested in looking at Mire. Not even gonna go into Skull Woods. Maybe he wants a little bit more health to his name.
Remember, he can't get to Skull Woods.
That's right. He's still missing the Moon Pearl. So, and by the way, this is totally a valid play because he has the mirror, he has the flutes. You know, and he is definitely looking for that Moon Pearl. Moon Pearl could also definitely be in Checkerboard Cave.
And he's going to be trying to do a little bit of a... well, that's an interesting mirror spot there. Well, I know exactly what Furaime's trying to do here. Well, also getting rid of that Myrtle Dactyl is also real nice too, but I know the end play here is to try to get those two on a sequence break.
Yeah, because, so, I mean, we know where the Moon Pearl is, so this is going to be, at least from our perspective and logic, but of course for him, he can't actually get to them quite yet.
Just a single rupee is the end result there, and we are not going to be going back into those last two spots. And now we're fluting to 5, which will give us the answer about Eastern Palace. And for Furaime, this is going to be almost the last location. Not completely, because could have done Aghanim to try to find the Moon Pearl on the pyramid, but you're doing this before you do Aga.
Yeah, so certainly, at least from what I've seen for Furaime's style, he probably doesn't do. He's not as aggressive about Aga plays. Just from what I've seen, and certainly going to Aga early has certainly been beneficial in certain situations. It just happens to be in this case because we have all the pieces, at least Dark World. It hasn't played out quite yet.
So for those of you who are wondering, the Moon Pearl turned out to be in the next chest that we'll see from Furaime in just a moment, the one that you can hookshot on over to. As Cantaloupeme faces off against this Mothula, which is going to have to be very careful with 4 hearts remaining. Now again, we do have Tempered Sword, but if he gets hung up on those spikes, you could take some damage. And it might not be a good fight in that spot. Down to 2 hearts. 1 bop from Mothula. Back to start. Oh, that was close.
Oh. Man, Cantaloupeme must have a really good poker face, or either that he just wasn't worried. You know, we were worried for nothing. And also, kind of as you point out, just because we have such lower health. In addition, any bottles that we end up picking up are always going to come unfilled. So in certain previous qualifiers, that certainly punished some runners who are not as, I would say, comfortable as, let's say, fighting Ganon on Master Sword.
We're getting that check right now, and it's just Couch Cash. Move along. Furaime has collected 2 pendants that are not needed. So that's a little bit of a 2 and 2 here, is the fact that Cantaloupeme has climbed the tower, which was unnecessary, and Furaime has done 2 pendant dungeons, which have also become unnecessary.
Yeah, and also, so speaking of, just because of where the 3rd pendant is and how close it is to the pedestal, I wonder if that's actually more incentive for Furaime to actually just complete it and then turn it in. I guess we're gonna have to see what he ends up doing.
The travel inside of those dungeons definitely do lead to important items, as being pointed out by chat. You needed to go through desert in order to get those gloves, and you did need to go into the Tower of Hera to get that flute. Right now, Cantaloupeme has no incentive to go up to that mountain because of the fact that he can't even get there. We do find the blue mail, which is the first of the items.
Yeah, this is actually going to be good news. So that means that both runners are going to be on blue mail, of course, as with the modified quote-unquote hard item pool. That is actually going to be the maximum. So when Furaime ends up picking that up, I think it'll actually just be 5 rupees. But maybe, I was going to say, maybe Cantaloupeme psychologically would have felt better if he had the blue mail, but clearly, as we've seen from his execution, he clearly didn't need it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Both of these runners have great execution in this game, and that is it for Skull Woods. That blue mail is a nice find. Furaime now heading over to Skull is going to get the finish this dungeon off first. And then we'll get the news that that pedestal is not required. But again, 2 items are required by traveling through a pendant dungeon. Cantaloupeme looks like he is going to be checking Sick Kid.
Yeah, that's right. With his 1 bottle. So this is it's. I guess I wonder. I mean, the bottle was pretty late too. I wonder if it's actually going to lead to anything.
Oh,
Oh,
silver arrows.
that is a really nice present that kid has. So as part of course the modified pool, this is probably the only mode where you will see that bows are not progressive. The arrows right now are shining as they can possibly be, as bright in Dark World. However, without that bow, the one and only, we can't actually shoot a single one.
Yep, this is one of the few times you'll see a non-progressive bow. The other time you'd ever see it would be in Super Metroid The Zelda 3 Combomizer. Also might be a setting that you might have in this, but for the most part you will see progressive bows in this kind of game. Alright, so as we go through the digging game, how many digs takes us to our item? Still digging. Still digging. Still digging.
At least they have like mini digs
Ether.
versus 0 blue balls.
By the way, I don't think we really got a chance to see what medallion was needed for Misery Mire when Furaime was in the area.
You actually bring up a good point. That's right, because he was trying to super bunny or mirror bunny his way into Mire's shed, and I'm actually not sure if we actually got a good look.
I will say that is a really great time to get that magic refill. Now, obviously, Tempered Sword, you're not going to be worried about the magic quite as much, but if he gets to the spikes, the Fire Rod's a good way to, say, get away from those spikes. K45 check here for Cantaloupeme. I'm going to assume that based on his routing, when he gets over to Bombos, that's when he'll make it over to the desert to check the ledge, and he'll see that the glove is there. Nice fight against Mothula for Furaime.
Yeah, it looks like it was a very conservative play, just because, as you said, he picked up that very fortunate full magic drop, so certainly had the liberty of being able to use some Fire Rod shots. Yeah, and this is actually good routing on Cantaloupe's side. You know, he's going to be able to visit Hype Cave. He is actually, you know, and with, of course, with that book, and Temper Sword at this point, he's also going to be able to check Bongo's tablet on his way.
Yep, man. Okay, so what do we got for these 5 items inside of Hype Cave? We got Not Really Hype. And we have Not Really Hype. Not Really Hype.
Oh, man!
Well, somewhat hype in this mode, but...
yeah, that is not what you want to see. You know, we did at least find both green rupees on Cantaloupe's side. If that's any consolation, you know, we did find the pair. I think the other one was in Graveyard Ledge, right?
Hooray! Yippee yahoo! Alright, here's the Bombos tablet check coming up in just a moment here for Cantalope. And again, I would assume at this point he will... Or he will go straight to desert now. Nope, he just realizes what he needs to do.
Looks like he realized that he can efficiently route in another check for himself.
I would have been impressed if Furaime still got that bomb jump even after falling off the ledge.
Just a casual early bomb jump over there.
Alright, Cantaloupe making his way closer and closer to that desert, where the glove that gets you up the mountain. To get you a couple of other big items so far in this seed.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't feel too bad when he sees that, sees the glove, just because, you know, I think he potentially realizes that he could have gotten this much earlier in the game.
Where did Furaime get the other blue mail? It was up on the mountain, right?
Yeah, Spectacle Rock. On top.
So as you saw, that second blue mail turns into 5 rupees.
The real 5 rupees this time. It's not like the scam where we think we're going to pick up 2 blue 5 rupees and then we only get 1.
And Furaime's going to be making sure that Graveyard Ledge is not turned into a loose square. We'll find the double 5 in just a few moments there as well, as Cantaloupe now heads inside of this desert palace. See whether or not he chooses to just clear this out or just get this glove. I wouldn't be surprised if he at least does this first section.
Yeah, and he does have motivation to go back over to the Eastern Palace area. You know, just because we do see the Palace of Darkness is a crystal, so, you know, if he decides to clear out desert and pick up the green pendant, he does have another opportunity to turn it in. Yeah, and at least so far, actually, so up until basically that pedestal check, Furaime has basically played very thoroughly, right? Basically not going to orphan or leave anything that basically as a one-off.
Yeah, and, you know, that's not a bad strategy at this point in time, especially if you are confident in how your execution in
That's right.
Randomizer can be versus your opponent. And also, don't forget, this is a first round match between these two in the round of 128. Yeah, you want to be able to win and move on to the round of 64, but you're not out of the tournament if you wind up having a rough race here.
Yeah, no, that's that is certainly a very valid point, and that's actually kind of like the nice thing, right, about a double elimination bracket. You know, especially for those probably with more randomizer play experience, we all have felt how unfortunate it can be if it ends up being you miss an item in a very bad spot, right? So at least the double edition option gives you another like it kind of tempers that. Alright, so Furaime also does have the mirror out, potentially gonna look at what he's gonna find in the front four and then make his decision whether or not he wants to mirror out early. He did check the pedestal early, so he knows that in this case, beating blind and picking up the third pendant is not gonna be worthwhile.
Absolutely. So therefore, we're not going to be able to get anything major out of this. Cantaloupe is taking a look, just maybe weighing over his options, maybe deciding that there's 2 items remaining inside of this desert, but no, he's not. He's going to actually just take that glove, head up to the mountain.
This is going to be very good. If Cantaloupe never ends up coming back to desert and finishing it, it's going to be definitely a time save over Furaime.
Answering a question somebody was asking in chat, why is Furaime doing all the pendants? Because at this point in time, you just saw that glove that Cantaloupe just found inside of deserts being the green pendants, so you might as well consider finishing it, especially if you weren't going to head to the eastern area until afterwards. And then Hera being the other one, and we found the flute inside of there, so maybe considering just finishing it there while you're up on the mountain weighs into the ideas here. All right, Furaime is about to get those silver arrows as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cantaloupe's trip up the mountain as he has experienced some of the consequences of a post-Aga light world where I guess all of the guards and everything has gotten an upgrade. And so you see that pesky blue guard basically getting in his way in order to try and lift the rock.
And he's going to be dealing with the Tektites when he walks up this mountain as well.
That's right. At least he has Temper Sword, you know, so like life is a little bit nicer, but yeah, everything has gotten an upgrade.
All right, the 25 or so digs for Furaime will lead to the ether coming up in just a moment as Cantaloupe's making his way over towards the Tower of Hera. There is the ether for Furaime. Now, I'm wondering here, Clear Mouse, does Furaime actually consider maybe making a trip into... No, we're going to do the breadsmith chain, because this is something that Cantaloupe couldn't do when he was over here in just a moment, just a little bit ago. So these are new checks. These 3 checks are going to be new. I'm wondering if Furaime does make a plan to maybe head and check that first check of Swamp.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the exact same thing. So the fact that Furaime's over here with Mitts and Mirror and Powder apparently as well, he's also going to be able to get this. He's gonna he can't check hammer picks quite yet because we don't have the hammer, but longest path over to Hype Cave. You know, the hammer being in the first spot, although it's a terrible location, it is totally valid.
Magic Cape turned in here for rescuing the frog. And we're going to see the upcoming check here. Actually, 2 checks, because remember, we do have the magic powder. Cantaloupe's about to get this flute. Make the decision whether or not he chooses to go any further here. And does not set up the quick, the dash, but will set up the bomb trick here to get the Hera pot in just a second here, trying to get himself aligned up properly. Needs to go a little more over. There he goes.
Did you see what was on Magic Bat on Furaime's side, Rick?
No, it seems rather chilling that I didn't get to see what it was.
Well, you know, so hopefully Ether is not going to be the only chilling item that Cantaloupe has in his arsenal by the time he makes it over to Turtle Rock, because that powder and the visit to the Magic Bat is 100% required.
Well, that's extremely chilling right there, and it looks like Cantaloupe has said no because of the fact that he's already seen what's on the pedestal. There's no reason to head into Moldorm's lair. So, yeah, that Ice Rod, that is a nasty spot for that, because we have seen runners who have gone into Turtle Rock with full access, trying to see if they can't locate it in the dungeon itself. And in this case, we know it's not.
So speaking of full access to Turtle Rock, so we don't actually know the medallion, because we haven't actually been over here for Dark Death Mountain, because when Furaime was up here with the Mist, he wasn't here with the Moon Pearl. So we do have the Key of Samari and the Fire Rod. We just picked up Mist. I guess Hammer's not up here. Oh, wait, actually, we don't know where Hammer is, right? So if Hammer's here, do you think he'll go in? So
that is a scary, scary question mark, but you might if you're Cantaloupe, because you're kind of getting into the point where if you don't, you're running the risk of orphaning this area off as well. And this is one of the things that gets really, really hard to do, is preventing things from being loose squares.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe for his sake, we want the entry to be of Turtle Rock to not be Ether or Quake. We want this to be Bombos.
Or perhaps,
or we don't want the hammer to be up there.
Have the hammer to be in the next 6 checks that Cantaloupe's going to have after he's done with Spiral Cave.
Alright, looks like Frag's at least going to temporarily skip out on the first chest of Swamp. It's certainly possible he'll go over back, especially after maybe he sees the lack of enthusiasm for what type he can offer. At least they're up to 7 hearts now.
Yay.
Alright, where are we going, Furaime?
We are doing it. We are doing it, maybe. No, we're not doing it. We are checking the bombos. We are checking the bombos. Alright.
Alright, so Furaime's gonna pick up his 10 arrows that he still can't do anything with because we still are missing a bow, and we are, but on Cantaloupe side though, we are gonna be able to get some new checks here on Super Bunny Cave and Hookshot Cave, but I guess we're gonna see what about Turtle Rock.
Now, Furaime didn't really get those 10 arrows. You see, when you already have 30, you pretty much just discard them.
That's
you can't
right.
really just litter them across all the Hyrule.
I mean, so where do they go? I mean, we don't even get money for them.
I know, that's the worst thing. You can't even get any redemption out of it.
Super Bunny Cave.
At least with a can of soda, you can get a 5-cent redemption in some state.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or 10 cents, depending on where you live.
Alright, time to go check that Mire shed. It is Ether to get ourselves into Misery Mire. What was it for Turtle Rock? I missed it.
Oh my gosh, no, I was so focused on seeing what was on Ether, I also missed Turtle Rock. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
Oh!
You see, so you saw Furaime shaking his head. You do remember, like, 30 minutes ago or something, when he was trying to do Mirror Bunny into that shed? Like, he was probably thinking, like, oh my gosh, if I only succeeded, I could have had the hammer so much earlier.
Chat is telling us that it is Ether for Turtle Rock as well. We are just a bow away from no mode.
Yeah, that's uncommonly seen bow go mode here, at least so far in this tournament. Now, look, actually, it looks like Hype Cave, Hookshot Cave also did not yield anything. So it looks like Dark Death Mountain was not very lucrative. One thing that Cantaloupe looks like actually he wasn't able to do, but Furaime actually has this opportunity to do, is with that cave, he can actually do Spike Cave.
Yeah, Cantaloupe couldn't because he doesn't have the hammer.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, the big thing here, Cantaloupe's going to be activating the flute. We'll probably head on over toward the Mire area. I like what Furaime's doing, by the way. Furaime, instead of going into Misery Mire, wants to see if it's just bow for go at this point. Look at the salute we get here from Cantaloupe. This is one nice thing about seeing the webcams.
You can feel how maybe you can feel his emotions, and hoping that he's going to be able to find something good.
All right, Cantaloupe's going to be heading over here to the mire area. We'll soon get that hammer. Now, that bow needs to be someplace rough, I think, because Cantaloupe might start getting into a position where he might go into dungeons that he doesn't have all the items to beat at this point. And that worries me.
Yeah, well, I mean, so that's right. And right now, it's at least so far, we haven't actually seen the bow yet on either side, so I guess he also needs that ice rod, by the way.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm concerned about that bow location. If we figure out where that bow turns out to be, if it's in a kind of a location the Cantaloupe finds, then he's going to play this as if the ice rod might be in Turtle Rock. And that's going to be really, really bad, especially considering the fact that he's already done Aga, so he can't even preserve Portal.
Oh yeah, no, that's also a really good point. And you actually see that he probably just when he tried in this case to mirror over and to get somewhere else, we actually just see that he actually started at the pyramid because he had to beat Aga.
Looks like Cantaloupe is opting to go inside of this misery mire, as Furaime is inside of this Turtle Rock.
Yeah, coming into mire here is actually a bit interesting. It is somewhere that Furaime hasn't been, so if the bow is here, this at least could put Cantaloupe, at least give us a more direction, let's say, to go back over to Pod or something.
And that would be interesting more of the fact that Furaime was considering coming in here, but had opted to go up to the mountain to find out what we needed for Turtle Rock before proceeding any further. Now, obviously, the bow is what we need in order to be in no mode ourselves. Cantaloupe still needs that ice rod. We know where that is. It's on Magic Bat. This is the first round match between these two. Winner moves on to face Plasma Kappa in the round of 64. The loser of this match will go down into the redemption bracket to face off against Wind Fox.
Yeah, and waiting for the winner side on the other side of the small pod bracket, mini bracket, is going to be the winner between Walther and Mitsu. So the winner side certainly has their work cut out for them in order to make the best of 32. But, you know, this is why we came to play in the tournament, right? You're going to play against the best of the best. And the prize pool actually is actually quite nice. I think it's sitting around like 4,500 or something like that.
Yep, after the $1,000 bonus for Speed Gaming, currently this pool will sit at about $4,900.
That is a lot of money, Rick.
First through 8th, we'll get a portion of the pool, except for the $400 we're taking out for nice small magic right there. That's the first time I've actually seen that. But the prize pool is broken down where top 16 will get some money. A 9th through 16 will get themselves $50 fixed amount, and then the rest of the people will get a certain percentage of the remaining chunk of that change. $4,500 worth of change there, with half of it going to the winner.
Yeah, and of course it's certainly still not tournament time yet. There's plenty of more time to basically increase that prize pool. So we found bombos. Not, of course, necessary. It certainly could be still used. Let's say in Ice Palace, you know, maybe against Cold Stare if they want to preserve some fire rod shots.
Oh,
wow! Yep, you can see the joy on his face right there.
I don't really see much of a difference in his expression.
maybe we can ask him in a subsequent interview. But yeah, I'm sure he's quite pleased. Looks like actually, at least from his perspective, he has actually routed this quite well. Probably the only thing that he might end up regretting is just because if he ended up going to Eastern Palace a bit later, because, you know, as you said earlier, he basically last location that Moon Pearl, but he also avoided going to Aghanim, and other than that, his Dark World has been very efficient.
Absolutely. And as such, he now will be able to go mode a bunch of different dungeons, including the Palace of Darkness, Eastern Palace. We'll get to go back and finish that off. Swamp Palace will be a go mode. Ice Palace will be going right straight to the boss. And the nice thing is he will have the silver arrows for the Vitreous fight coming up when he comes over here to Misery Mire later on.
Yeah, I was going to say, so the fact that they have picked up so many nice offensive upgrades, right? Having silvers, having tempered, all of these boss fights are going to be very comfortable within their. But I mean, once he picks up the small key, he's just going to basically go out. He's all ready for Trinex. But this is going to be like a very comfortable and well practiced fights. Looks like though Cantaloupe, unfortunately, he had missed the big key somewhere. I think I saw some text, unfortunately.
So what ended up happening is that the big key was in the chest over here, in this map chest over that he's walking by right now. And so therefore he had to do a loop-de-loop in order to go back to the big chest, because I think he still only has picked up one item inside of this dungeon, and as a result, we now know that that second item is going to be on Vitreous. All right. We have a Trinex fight for Furaime.
Yeah, it looks like he didn't opt to do any backdoor strategy, which is totally fine. But you know, he's got tempered sword, he's got a couple raws to his name. It's gonna be definitely a fast fight. Uncommonly seen apparently in this tournament is that we actually get to see Mire Basement because we picked the lamp so early.
And one thing I do want to point out about this tournament here, we do have limited matches being shown here on the SpeedGaming family of networks. It's obviously a lot of other things are currently getting the priority, including the League and the Metroid Fusion Randomizer tournament and Mega Man 6 and the SMZ3 co-op that just wrapped up yesterday as well. A lot of things that are taking priority, but we are going to get some matches here in the link to the past randomizer SGL tournament as we move closer to the event next month that will determine who wins the money.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that this is actually still only a round 1 match, the caliber of this top 128 bracket is quite intimidating. Even these matchups. Yes. What's up, Rick?
Hi. Well, let me ask this question here, because you mentioned something about a very, very intriguing top 64 match that's on the top part of this bracket.
Yes. So that's Hitsu versus Walter, right?
Yeah, that's right. That is a very.
Oh no! Oh no!
Cantaloupe was expecting him to come out for the final attack, and there was one more lightning cycle. That's rough.
It looks like he unfortunately has felt some pain, but it looks like he's just going right back in and going to try and take Vitreous down the second time. This is unfortunately like this, and we're going to basically see a difference here. The fact that Furaime's going to have silver arrows take down Vitreous versus Cantaloupe has to kind of take Vitreous down with just like a temper sword, basically.
Yeah, he's going to have to do this the NMG strat, but you don't even have as many hearts as you normally do for NMG.
Yeah, and then also you can't use nice 8 arrows on the big eye either, right? He's going to take more time to do like sword spins and stuff. Not often, by the way, you also get to see a pod go mode as well. Usually, we come here pretty early, and in this case, though, I think once Furaime ends up finding a big key and a subsequent small key, which I'm sure he'll pick up along the way, he is going straight to the back.
Yeah, definitely was a solid fight for Cantaloupe as he was trying to face off. It's just unfortunate that when Vitreous was popping his head up, it was to give out one more lightning strike after the last eye was killed, not to start that final cycle. That was the unfortunate ending there for Cantaloupe. But again, 5 hearts going to look like he's going to be powdering an anti-fairy to boost up his health for round number 2.
His path, by the way, to get back to Vitreous has been actually quite clean. And this is also another testament to how experienced these runners are. Taking a death never feels good, especially something like this. He is keeping his head quite cool in order to be back here and still keep playing.
Nice stair dash there for Furaime. All right, Cantaloupe, round number 2. Trying to get himself situated into the goo to try to do a maximum damage down to 4 hearts. Wants to be a little careful because if he does touch the eyes, it does become a little bit of sadness here. Looks like that the big key in this side of this Palace of Darkness is going to be deep.
Still waiting for that key. We found so many of the small ones. We just need a big one.
With 3 keys at this point, I'm going to guess that Harmless Hellway is going to be the big key.
All right, let's see if you're right.
Vitreous is down. We get ourselves. No, I guess I was wrong.
No.
It's in the maze.
Yep. I mean, I guess the good news is at least we don't have to go to the big chest. I mean, at this point there is. I mean, we've actually already picked up both heart containers. I guess there's a third one technically out there, but at this point there is nothing that can help Rhyme at this point.
There's the big key right there at the top of the maze. Cantaloupe with a solid second fight of Vitreous. Now, Bo is in Turtle Rock, needs to get the Ice Rod. Does he go? Okay, so he's going to check the Ice Rod cave, so he's going to get the rupees now. Shoutouts to his current rupee count.
Yeah, and at this point, looks like he at least doesn't want. He is trying to at least pick up some loose ends. Certainly could be very likely he goes into Ice Palace. That is certainly another option for him. He does have the key to Samaria, of course, so certainly Ice Palace clear is going to be a little bit faster. The question for Cantaloupe, though, is when is he going to be able to go back into the Village of Outcast area and do the overworld checks with the blacksmiths and hammer pegs and magic powder?
It's gonna be a while.
Yeah, this is part of the, and you're right. Just because we have so many clearable crystal dungeons on the table. Those are much more lucrative, right, than basically going into some overworld location, which you've already been to once before.
Mm-hmm. And the normal theme is to always be clearing dungeons, and that's normally a good thing here for Cantaloupe to do. We just know that the one important piece of the puzzle that he's going to need is not in a dungeon.
Right, so long as he goes into dungeons that, as you said earlier, he can fully clear, not just partially clear, then we're still in decent shape.
As Cantaloupe with 2 crystals, Furaime working on his 3rd right now. Trying to take down the hammer, trying to make sure that the fireball doesn't spawn first. That's what that hesitation was first and foremost. Takes care of the Helmsar King. We'll grab this crystal. We'll soon have 3 and then make it 4 afterwards.
Yeah, so we couldn't end up clearing out Eastern Palace earlier just because we didn't have that bow that we found in Turtle Rock, but of course with a simple mirror transition, we are going to basically go straight to the back. It's going to be a very fast Eastern clear, especially with silver arrows.
Eastern was a required double dip because of the fact that we had the Moon Pearl earlier. Do want to promote a couple of matches we will be doing from SpeedGaming Live 21 that will be getting restreams coming up later on at 10:20 p.m. Eastern. SGLIVE versus Homemade Beer. That's going to be over on SpeedGaming 6. And then overnight tonight, 2:20 a.m. Eastern Time, 11:20 p.m. Pacific Time, Norsk Maddie, Hayfield Bay. And we mentioned Walther's name earlier for having to face Hitsuen. He's going to be in the commentary booth with Act the Boker at 2:20 this morning. Yeah,
so if you're up that early or late, I guess, you are definitely in for a treat in terms of a match.
And if you want to get more information about this, find out everything that's going on, you can do SGL ALTTPR. SGL21 ALTTPR, rather, is what you need to do to figure out what's going to be going on with this tournament, as we do see Cantaloupe going through this Ice Palace. All right, well, I guess we can't do that command. We'll have to work on that command.
Bear with us for technical difficulties. And just like that, by the way, Furaime's already in the back of Eastern Palace. Basically, he is just a couple rooms away from facing off against Armos. Looks like though, didn't actually quite see the exact key layout, but looks like Cantaloupe actually is going to opt to. Looks like he's going to go to Ice Tea and still in search of the bow and the ice rod. Or maybe he needs a small key in order to face down. Oh, maybe he doesn't have enough magic, so he needs to go into the safety room and in order to refill some. Super nice thing about how Furaime ends up routing this, right? I think someone in chat mentioned that he was basically going to go mode like a ton of dungeons. So go moding Swamp Palace is quite the luxury. You can see how fast the go mode Swamp Palace is. You can basically go just straight to the back, which is exactly what he's doing right now. Alright, taking down on Cold Stare. Actually, really nice fight on Cantaloupe's side. You can see this is actually very well practiced. It's doing looks like a more traditional 6 slashes on Cold Stare. Very NMG-esque. He picks up his next crystal. So Cantaloupe, I mean, despite, I guess, getting those gloves pretty late and doing Aggie, he's actually making really good progress. And he is, over Furaime, at least going to save a little bit of time, just because, especially early on, Furaime's strategy was a bit more thorough. So ended up, you see on the tracker that he ended up clearing out Pendant Hera and Pendant Desert as well. In this case, Cantaloupe has opted to kind of at least skip the final bosses, so it's going to be a little time safe for him. Alright. First foray into Swamp Palace. Furaime's probably going to at least give us, at least pick up this key, and then go basically straight to the back. And I guess I'm kind of curious to see if he decides to try and dive her down and just save a little bit of extra time. Meanwhile, though, we actually might get a side-by-side comparison between a Go Mode Swamp Palace on Furaime's side and a we're still looking for 2 items in Swamp Palace on Cantaloupe's side.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but you know, this is the. I mean, Cantaloupe's not making the wrong moves. We know he's making the wrong move based on what we know from Furaime, but he's doing what you're told to do. Clear your dungeons. You might find your go mode there. It's just the path that he's taken versus the path that Furaime's taken. Furaime found the items. It comes down to luck. It comes down to luck in this case.
Yeah, I mean, right, and you know, so from Catalyst's perspective, right, Swamp has 6 potential items. You know, why can't the bow be here? Why can't the ice rod be here, right? And the fact that he doesn't have an ice rod is certainly much less incentive for him to go back up the mountain and just to try to turn a rock without the ice rod, right? Because without that ice rod, you can't actually fully clear Turtle Rock. Alright, we are 1 swim water conveyor belt away from facing Argus. I believe Furaime's comfortable enough with a at least a quick kill Argus start. Let's see if he ends up picking at least following through. Really, really nice start. Unfortunately, Argus looks like he just moved a little bit too close. So he got probably what, half the buffs out, which is actually really good. So he's going to finish up in this case to just slash out. Alright. Oh, that was a really nice silver arrow snipe over there on Furaime's side. Just 1-shot kill. Picks up the big key, but of course, in this case, we're not going to need it at all. And just like that, Furaime's actually done with Swamp Palace.
We got it.
Oh, nice! You fixed it, Rick.
Working on the fly, everybody.
This is bunnies at work.
All right, Cantaloupe now making his way over to the left side of Swamp, which we kind of expect at this point. And Furaime is heading over towards Misery Mire. We still have to finish that dungeon. We also have to finish off Ice Palace and go up to GT, coming up in just a few. What do you think, if you're looking at these runners, what do you think they're thinking at this point? Yeah, they're not thinking anything. That's the correct answer. A lot of dungeons to go mode here for Furaime. How many go mode dungeons did we have here? It was like, what, 4 maybe?
That's a good question. So we did clear out 2 pendants. We were able to do Skull Woods, not in go mode, but once we found that bow in Turtle Rock, we were able to do, let's see, Pod technically in go mode, Eastern go mode, Swamp. We were going to be doing Ice Palace and Mire, so that's a lot of dungeons.
Yeah, I can't count Eastern because of the fact that we had to go through there earlier to get the Moon Pearl, so I can't count that one, but it's 4.
At least its number of go-modable dungeons was greater than the number of Aga Blue Balls that we had. Alright, looks like though Cantaloupe is opting to skip left side Swamp 4 now. So assuming he does come back in, he's going to be able to pick up the big key from Argus. Well, at least he'll be a little bit more efficient. But looks like he's going to go and clear out the back, the more traditional way. So he's going to basically unflood the water here and then go back to the flood room and get the chests. Alright, looks like I always get a little bit nervous whenever runners quick swap over to the mirror in a dungeon, especially Mire, because, you know, it's always kind of a little sad to see players accidentally hit the Y button at the wrong time. But looks like Ryan wanted to, in this case, preserve the spooky, trying to hit.
Didn't get it.
Yeah, trying to hit that anti-fairy though. Looks like he's just going to opt to do a backup, and then hit the switch the old-fashioned way.
On the 3rd attempt there, Furaime is able to pick up that anti-fairy. I think we saw a little bit of a grin right there. A little bit of a grin. Alright, here's where we get to see the magic of those silver arrows. Count with us.
I've already lost count, Rick.
Well, I think we're only at about 7 seconds here, and we're done. Bye. I didn't mean for you to leave. Cantaloupe is leaving Swamp, or going back in. Did we get the big key on Argus or something like that? That he's now checking the big chest? Yep, he's got to check that big key. Alright, so as Furaime gets ready to do Ice Palace, we have just a little more time before we get to play our last game of this seed. But you're going to get to see Furaime do Ice Palace in Go mode, and this is going to be a fast one.
Yeah, that's right. So he doesn't, of course, need anything. You unfortunately see the disappointment that Cantaloupeme is experiencing, having to go back to Swamp Palace in order to pick up the big chest. Unfortunately, only finding 5 rupees. Yeah, hopefully, Icebreaker will actually go well for Furaime. I think he actually mentioned in his final qualifier he spent an extraordinarily long time basically trying to get Icebreaker to work. So I believe he also did a little bit of practice earlier. So hopefully this will, in a live run, it'll go well for him.
Looks like Cantaloupe is heading on over here to check to see what we have with the Breadsmith chain, and we'll probably get to see the magic bat. So this was actually pretty good news. Unfortunately for Cantaloupe, it's a little too late, but had this been earlier, this would have been quite the time for Cantaloupe to actually get this ice rod. That was one of our concerns when we did find that ice rod on Furaime's side.
Yeah, right. And so in this case, at least, he will be able to pick up his ice rod. He didn't get baited into going to Turtle Rock earlier without that ice rod, and now he's going to have all the incentive to basically go back. Did he just hammer that chicken for?
He probably did. He probably did at this stage. All right, so Furaime getting ready to wrap things up here inside of this ice palace. I do want to let you know, if you like Link to the Past Randomizer, and I know those of you who are watching do, we have this thing coming up, or this thing in the league this week. They're the Spoiler Key Sanity, the piloted Key Sanities, that is. That's been quite a fun week.
It is actually really cool to watch. I mean, actually, so I think out of all of the league weeks and different events, that's actually like my favorite one.
Absolutely. And here's the thing is that if you've noticed some of this low percent combat here for these two runners, that's exactly what you're going to see coming up in just a few minutes. So stay tuned. Coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern in 25 minutes, we have the league match between Did You Check Your Boot and Spearfinity between Werfjig and GFE_12. Jurassic and Sabatender on the call for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that coming up in just a little bit here. But first, let's get us to the finish of this match between Cantaloupe and Furaime.
Yeah, and you see that actually Furaime's going to try and take advantage of that Bombos medallion in order to try and save a couple of extra fire rod shots. Easy. Got a little bit out, but I mean, everything is under control for Furaime. So, just like that, Furaime's track is basically almost all lit up, basically, of all the judges who decided not to go back to Thieves' Town because he knew the last pennant was worthless. But in this case, we are all ready to go up to Ganon's Tower. Are there more numbers associated with Ganon's Tower, Rick?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody who's watching here on Speed Gaming, there are going to be 22 possibilities in Ganon's Tower, in which the Ganon's Tower Big Key can be located in. Pick a number between 1 and 22 and tell us where you believe the Big Key of Ganon's Tower is going to be. Clear Mouse, where do you think it is?
Where do I think it is? I would like it to be in Compass Room.
Compass Room is not a bad answer, but that's not a number.
You're right. Number. Does it have to be rational? Does it have to be real? I guess it has to be integers, huh?
We have a bunch of people putting numbers in the chat, and if my co-commentary is not going to give me a number, then how is it fair to those people guessing their numbers in chat?
You're right. Okay, let's. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a small key in Hope Room. That's where Furaime's going to go first, and so Compass Room somewhere is what, like 5. Hopefully it's early.
Clear Mouse is saying 5. I'm going to say 9.
Now, 9 actually could be different. So if Furaime ends up going to Stalfos Room first, it still actually could be Compass. Because if you go over to Stalfos Room first, you're guaranteed a small key.
You already said 5.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You already said 5. We're going to have to keep it stick. It's like when you answer on Jeopardy, it's got to be the first answer.
That's true. It is my final answer.
This isn't Millionaire. We don't have $1 million to give away. We have $4,900 to give away here on Speed Gaming.
I was gonna say, but I mean, like, but these runners look so rich, right? You know, Furaime got almost 600 rupees. Cantaloupe's almost got 1,000 to his name.
Anyways, here we go. Hope room for the marbles.
Alright, is there going to be a small key? There is! Alright, so we are going to be able to continue on to Compass Room.
So it looks like your 5 is going to be inside of that Compass Room. It will be the third chest we see in this room.
Yeah, Cantaloupe, though, making his way over to Turtle Rock, needs to be a little bit careful. Even though he does have blue mail, these enemies still hit pretty hard, like that Pokey.
Yeah, Chain Chomp's also hurt pretty hard as well.
Yeah, at least he has a fourth heart! That was a very important fourth heart! It looks like, actually, I'm not even sure if he has any berries. He does have the cape out, which is good news for him.
Yeah, he's going to take it safe through here, make sure he can get to this chest. Unfortunately, it did not be in the Compass Room, neither 5 nor 7. Or 6, rather.
Alright, so nothing on the right side means Furaim's going to be able to go on the left side. And hopefully
this is going to be...
Oh my gosh, dude!
Oh, okay, I was worried that was going to run out.
That was the last possible moment of safety on Cantaloupe's side. No more magic, 1 heart, and nothing in bottles. Oh man.
Yeah, we're fine.
We are. He does have the Cane of Samaria. He has powder, and he has no magic, so it is possible for him to fake real powder with no magic if he really needs that safety.
Winner of this match, which looks to be Furaime, pending something big happening here. Moving on to the next round to face off against Plasma Kappa. Send help.
Fun fact, Rick. So did you know that in the main tournament earlier this year, Furaime and Plasma Kappa actually faced off in the first round of brackets, of brackets. It was a best of 3. And unfortunately, Furaime did not claim victory over Plasma Kappa. So if this actually ends up being Furaime versus Kappa, it's going to be a rematch.
That's really good information right there, and I'm actually now more looking forward to that match if it does happen. And the loser of this match, they're not out of this tournament. They will be going up against Wind Fox in the lower bracket.
Still looking for that big key, huh? The number is just getting higher and higher.
Well, yes, it is. You see, we're currently now sitting at the number 13. This next check is going to be the number 14. 14, 15, 16, or 17.
I guess we can only add in this game. We can't subtract, huh?
No, we can't. Nice try, though. 17 is a new.
Still not in Rando Room. Alright, so we have the chest right before Ice Armos, right above, I guess, rather. We have the 3 chests behind Ice Armos, and then, of course, we have the last possible location where no one really wants the big key to be.
Yes, we call that number 22.
Oh, right, okay. Alright, so Cantaloupe, very, very shortly, after just picking up bombs from Mimikyu, he's going to be able to find his bow very soon in the big chest of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and at this point, he'll know exactly the cycle of what they needed to do in order to get through this seed. Alright, there's the bow for Cantaloupe, gets into go mode. As now Furaime using the bow to face off against these Armos Knights. 1, 2, 3, 4... That's a miss. 5. That's a miss. That's a miss. 6. No. No.
Oh, man. Oh my gosh. Well.
Clear mouse. It's in
sorry.
number 22.
It is.
What's going to happen here is we're going to punt that block. That's a nice punt right there.
Yeah,
and I'm going to let you talk here in this tile room. I'm going to just shut up.
What? I have to say something here this time. Okay, so we're gonna count, I guess, the number of tiles that's gonna be flying over to Furaime. It looks like actually he is gonna opt to take his own version of a cape tile room break. So fun fact is that if you actually have the cape and you use it, you hold on to something. In this case happens to be that fireball shooting thing. If you hang on to it, you don't lose magic, but you still have invincibility. So it's going to be a nice chill break before he ventures up and faces the gauntlet. Hey, look, we found the big key, Rick. It was a number 22 all along.
We knew it all along. We had guessed this. We knew it was in number 22.
That's right. Alright, so of course, being very mindful of his magic resource, he looks like Furaime at least went over to the right side temporarily in order to refill and have a full magic bar going up. We also did see, by the way, on both runners' side in Meyer, when they opened up a chest and it was a small magic decanter, that is the half magic replacement, so that is definitely not going to be an option for our runners today.
Unfortunately, Cantaloupeme taking a bop
no.
down, but he did do safety doors, so this is not a gigantic loss of time here for Cantaloupe. Just more annoying than anything else. But as we do cool up this tower, be sure to follow both of these runners. Furaime has been a regular doing Link to the Past randomizer stuff, whether it be tournaments, leagues, the POG championship stuff, the whatever it is. Furaime does it here in Link to the Past randomizer. Cantaloupe, a veteran in the speedrunning community. We mentioned his accolades earlier with regards to his Zelda 1, Zelda 2, even in Link to the Past, in the No Major Glitches category, and various other games. It's good to have these runners playing in this tournament.
Oh, heck yeah. And of course, Furaime, being from Brazil, actually is one of the best players in the Portuguese community as well. Certainly very active. Having a pretty decent gauntlet up here so far. Pink's Isaac are behaving, at least didn't run off. Looks like Furaime is actually just one room away. Actually pretty decent. A very nice execution.
Yeah, pretty solid gauntlet here for Furaime. We do want to shout out one other person, by the way. I do want to shout out one other person, Clearmouse.
Who would that be, Rick?
That would be Scott G239, clicking those buttons, making those icons appear on the screen here on this restream. Thank you very much for doing the tracking on this match.
Yeah, especially look at all the things that Furaime decided to do, right? Making the tracker work extra hard.
And of course, if you want to get more of a schedule of the matches, including the ones that get restreamed, you can just click that link that I just gave you there. The speedgaming.org/SGL21ALTTPR to find out the list of the matches, plus take a look at the bracket. And I know that fall.
Yeah,
I feel that fall too well.
You can see that Furaime's like, oh, again. It is just a really unfortunate dash sometimes.
Yeah, it's a tough run there, and it happens to everybody, and you know, you just gotta deal with it. And right there, Furaime having enough health to get through it and doesn't have to worry about that at all.
Yeah, no, and he has enough magic in order to save himself an extra magic pickup on the bottom in the last room there. And of course, it was very nice. Powder serving multiple functions today. Not only did it lead us to the ice rod, which was very much required, it is also going to be a really nice safety to power these anti-fairies in order to get that final health refill for Ganon.
And get that arrow refill.
Yeah, that was actually really nice.
Towards Ganon as well. Not that we needed more than the 7 that we already had, but in case something goes awry, it's good to have them. All right, Moldorm 2.
Nice hookshot strats there.
I was one of those people that thought that he was going to get tossed off somewhere in the middle there, but nice location.
He knows, Furaime knows exactly what he's doing.
Absolutely. All right, Cantaloupe's inside of this Palace of Darkness. Probably will get through this dungeon, maybe Eastern by the time that Furaime finishes up with this seed, depending on how Ganon goes. But the unfortunate thing is that the big key being in this dungeon deep. It was pretty late. It basically was not a go mode pod. It was like a normal clear pod that you had to skip one chest. Yeah, and it turned out to be in the top of the maze, so unfortunately we had to do everything.
That was a really nice triple on that side. Wow.
Yeah. There's the final hit there, and Furaime's on the way to the Ganon fight. So once again, if you're looking for more SGL, we've got another match coming up at 10:20 p.m. That begins in about 30 minutes from now. That's going to be over on SpeedGaming 6, but if you like the League, we have the next of the spoiler piloted Key Sanities, whatever you really want to call it, the Week 4 match coming up. That was quite the bounce there for Cantaloupe.
Yeah, these beetles are bully beetles today. Jeez.
Wervjig versus JFE. Did you check your boot versus Spearfinity? Drowsy Sabatender on call for that. Tam doing the piloting for Wervjig, and P-Train doing the piloting for GFE. That's coming up here in 11 minutes here on SpeedGaming.
Yeah, and fun fact actually about GFE. GFE was actually a semi-finalist last year for SGL as well, so gonna be definitely another good set of runners playing this game.
Yeah. Playing the finals in last year's SGL back in November. And we look forward to doing another in-person version of SGL coming up in 2022.
I cannot wait, Rick. I really would like to be in person for the next one.
We'll give you the details more when we get into the SGL event itself. But yeah, 2022 coming up next year, even in person. All right, Furaime. 1 silver arrow, 2 silver arrows, 3. Gonna have to relight the torches once more.
One more, and then he can claim a victory. Just as long as he doesn't. I'm not gonna say anything. Never mind. He just needs one more arrow. That's it.
There we go. There we go. Good location. Good cooldown.
All right.
Furaime is going to knock off Cantaloupeme to move on to the round of 64 to face off against Plasma Kappa. Get your GGs in chat for Furaime, the victor in this match.
GG's Furaime. Looks like his timer is also correct. Also with the official time, 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 48 seconds.
Yep, and Cantaloupe is going to be rendering the seed, and we'll get Cantaloupe in here for an interview. We will not get an interview from Furaime here in this seed. So, yeah.
He looks like somebody who just won and is advancing out to the round of 64. Oh,
Yeah,
we are joined. Yeah.
I was going to say we're joined here by Cantaloupe. Your thoughts on this seed?
Well, hello everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, I took the Aga bait and didn't go to desert, and then of course, good old Viddy decided to fake me out pretty good.
Yeah, it really comes down to the item order, and Furaime had the more preferred item order. In fact, getting that ice rod more incentivized him to get over to doing the Turtle Rock sooner, which got him into go mode, and as such was able to do 4 dungeons in go mode.
Oh yeah, that would definitely help. Yeah, I didn't get, as soon as I got the ice rod, that told me, hey, let's go to Turtle Rock, and then I saw the bow. I'm like, okay, I know I'm probably behind with the Viddy death and everything, but yep, and also I figured out after I did Aga, and then once I got the other things, I was like, wait, I didn't need to do Aga after all. So,
yeah, at least you saved yourself going up to Turtle Rock without the ice rod, right? That would have been even worse.
Yeah, that was going to be my last play. I was going to dip pod before I went to Turtle Rock without ice rod. But, if that comes up, I'm usually doing everything in the overworld I can, just to prevent the double dip in Turtle Rock, because that's not fun.
Yeah,
that's... At least you didn't get baited into going into Turtle Rock to chase after that ice rod to find out it wasn't there, and obviously because you already had done Aga, you would not have been able to preserve your portal at the Turtle Rock, or the laser bridge entrance. So at least you didn't get that. You got over to the Magic Bat when you did. Just like I said, it just turned out to be the chain of events, and Furaime had the right chain of events, and really that comes down to a little bit of luck here.
Yep, that's the way it is, but it's all good. I'm just happy I made brackets. I don't get to do these as often as I'd like because of my work schedule. So just to make brackets, I was happy with that.
And you're not out of this just yet. You will be going into the redemption bracket. Your next opponent will be Wind Fox. Any thoughts about that match?
I'm not too familiar with them or their play styles, so I don't really have much go on. I just hope I can at least win one match and try to claw my way back out a bit. But, you know, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, you made brackets. I mean, everyone here is really good. So
yeah,
certainly, the fact that you're here is already a testament. So.
And it really was a tough road to get into the brackets, especially the way some of those qualifiers went. So making it into the field of 128, that's definitely something to be proud of. And again, you're not out of this. You still have a chance for a redemption. We also do have Furaime, who's in the chat. GG's to him as well, and well done on that seed. Congratulations on your win. And you get to face off against Plasma Kappa in the next round. So, any closing thoughts on this seed, Cantaloupe, before we move on to our next event here?
No, GG to Furaime for a good race and all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll do it again.
All right, give both of these runners a follow. Cantaloupe on your left, Furaime on the right. GG's to both of you. Great race and great showcase of execution as we moved through some portions of this seed, especially that Mothula fight. That was scary.
Oh yeah, that was impressive though.
Yeah, that I knew I was like a pixel away from death.
Yeah, I know. And Furaime wasn't that far off from death either, so it was like you both definitely made it nervous. Made it nervous for that fight, but GG's to both of you. All right, coming up next, we have Link to the Past Randomizer League. Wervjig versus GFE_12. Drosy and Sabatender will take things over in just a few minutes. Special thanks to Scott G for doing the tracking for this match, and Clear Mouse, I had fun.
Oh yeah, no, Rick, it was great commentating with you. I certainly look forward to the next sets. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, and thank you, Cantaloupe and Furaime for putting on such a fun race and allowing us basically to be able to restream you guys. It was a really fun match.
Stay tuned. Next, Link to the Past Randomizer League, more SGL Link to the Past coming up on SpeedGaming 6 and overnight tonight here on SpeedGaming. Until then, have yourself a good evening. I'm Adirondack saying good night.
Good night.